Hi, you're watching Grigsby Eats, and if you remember one of my previous vlogs, in there I talked about my health journey and how prioritizing low carbohydrate and sugars, keto and carnivore meals has led to a significant improvement in my health. But thus far, I've avoided going all the way in any diet. In the sense that, yes, I've cut down 90% of carbs, sugars, and vegetables. The fact is that carbs, sugars, and vegetables are still in my diet. So I've always wondered how my body would react if I eliminated carbs, sugars, and vegetables altogether and ate a strict elimination diet like the Lion diet for a month. So for those of you who don't know, the Lion diet is extremely restrictive. It's eating only ruminant meats like beef and lamb with salt and water and nothing else. And I mean nothing else. No carbs, no sugars, no vegetables, no spices, no animal foods like milk and cheese or even salted and preserved meats, just fresh meat. Apparently any sort of dairy can be inflammatory, and salted and preserved meats has high histamine levels. So yes, I know it's very extreme. You see, I have been listening to the health journeys of internet personalities like Michaela Peterson, Dr. Anthony Chaffee, and Dr. Sean Baker, and they extol the virtues of cutting out all vegetables, carbs, and sugar and eating just meat and fat. Now, I'm not going to go into the science of why excluding these foods and eating just meat and fat leads to health benefits, but I'll post some links in the video description below. You can just listen to them. But very quickly, apparently the health benefits going from a standard Singapore diet to this Lion diet is very similar to what I experienced. And I documented this in my vlog about my health journey, which I'll link in the video description below. It's meant to decrease inflammation, cure autoimmune diseases, and it removes the anti-nutrients and toxins from plants and removes the bacterial overgrowth, discomfort, and inflammation that you get from eating fiber. On the flip side, there are also videos and articles from experts claiming that it's bad for your health. That it's high in fat, high in cholesterol, and high in sodium, that it may lack certain micronutrients and beneficial plant compounds, and that it lacks fiber. And according to mainstream science, fiber is necessary for gut health and healthy bowel movements. So you can see that there are videos and articles claiming that the Lion diet is good and that it is bad. But from my point of view, I can listen to lectures and read articles all day, but I won't know for sure unless I actually try it for myself. So starting from today, I'm going to try the Lion diet for 30 days, and I'll document what I'm doing and what the changes will be on my body. So, today's episode is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Think about how much of your life is on the internet. Every site you visit, every video you watch, every message you send, all of that gets tracked and data mined. When you run Surfshark VPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, making your activity a lot more difficult to trace. Surfshark VPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers. In addition, Surfshark has a new feature called Alternative ID, where it can generate a new online identity and email so that your true identity can be kept safely under wraps. That means that you don't need to give out your own personal information to one-time use websites or to sites which you don't trust. But what I like about Surfshark VPN is how easy it is to use. Download the app on your phone and computer, tap one button, and now you're protected. Click the link in the description box below and use my coupon code GrigsbyEats. And that'll get you a Black Friday deal that will give you a whopping 5 months for free. You get to try it out for 30 days, and if you don't like it for any reason, there's a money back guarantee. And now, back to the review. So that is an example of one of my meals. 3 beef burger patties gotten fresh from the market, fried in beef tallow, some beef fat crispies, and some beef oil poured on top. And that will keep me full for more or less the whole day. My wife joined me eating the same way that day, and she will also join me for some meals eating like this. But generally, she is less strict than me. She's more animal-based. She prioritizes meat and fat, but adds in a small amount of carbs, sugars, and a bit of alcohol on the side. Okay, this is first day of my diet. They're eating, I'm not eating. How? Okay, can.
Can I?
Is it boring? Papa's got eat this.
Yeah.
Boring, Papa's got it.
Okay, so my wife is gonna help me weigh. Okay, what's my weight?
81. No, 86. No, don't move.
Okay, alright. 86.5.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, this is my weight, right? With clothes on and I'm carrying my phone. So, yeah, just for context. So this is what I look like day one of the diet. I still have a little bit of a belly. Okay lah, much better than what I was before. So because I'll be eating a lot of beef and lamb, I'm prioritizing freshly bought meat or freshly thawed frozen meat for maximum freshness. Half of my meat is gotten from online meat suppliers like QB Food, which sells frozen beef and lamb, but I only buy from them when they're having the occasional special offer lah. Okay, let's see what specials I can get from QB Food, okay? There we go. There we go. See, promo period. Swift grass-fed ribeye, chilled. $31.90 per kg, which is pretty alright, I think. So as I said, QB Food will have occasional offers like this lah, and then I will buy basically the whole slab, 4 kg, whole slab, and then I'll just cut it up myself. So yeah. The other half of my meat supply is gotten from my wet market butcher in Clementi, which I've been going to for the past 3 years or so.
Hi, my name is Desmond. So I'm the owner of Meat Punk. So it was established 30 years back by my dad. So I didn't expect to take over, but unfortunately my dad passed away like 10 years ago. So I have to take over the business when I'm in uni. Ever since I've been a butcher after I graduated. I've been doing this for nearly 5 to 6 years.
6 years, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about me doing this funny diet?
First came out to mind is high cholesterol because of due to too much of red meats. Yeah, that's why. So I'm not sure how will this benefit your health, but I hope it does.
Actually, one of the few hawkers which actually sell beef fat, right?
I'm not sure, but yeah, I do sell beef fats because we do have a lot of excess of beef fats. Yeah, because of the customer, they always get sirloins and short rib blue kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they most of the customer they really don't like fat. So I will have to trim out before I weigh and sell. So normally people use this for shabu shabu, and some people they use it for the Korean grilling. Yeah. So this actually the fattier the better lah. But the negative side, if it's too fat, then it will eat into my cost. But I have to trim all these fats away. Yeah. So if it's fatty, then there will be nice marbling in it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I bought from the market. Maybe it will last for about 3 meals or 2 meals depending on how I eat lah. These are 2 packs of mincemeat. So this is basically beef trimmings. So what they do is that they actually have a whole piece of chuck, and then they cut out all the hard to eat bits, and then some of the fat, some of the tendon sort of thing lah. Of what they cut out, some of the bits is for stewing, some of the bits is for some other thing, and then some of the bits is for eating. These are the bits for eating lah, basically, and it's like that. So one pack is 500 grams. So 1 kg of all this is basically $10, and this will feed me for about 2 meals, maybe 2.5 meals or so. So this is how I prepare my burgers. What I do is that I actually salt my pan before I put the burgers inside. So I've got some salt. This is sea salt. I put it inside. Okay, some Himalayan salt right here, and I salt it. Then I put some more Himalayan salt. And maybe just a little bit more of sea salt for a good measure. Okay, the reason why I actually salt my burgers, right, is so that, well, first it seasons it, but also that it actually breaks down the texture a little bit more so that it actually results in a softer burger. If I haven't said already, right, the mincemeat inside here actually has got meat, fat, and a bit of connective tissue and tendon inside lah, and it's all ground up. So nutritionally, it's probably a little bit better, I guess, you know, than just normal muscle meat lah. This is what I think. So, then I mix it. And I'm just going to let that marinate in salt. Okay, so I'm done, and this is going inside the fridge. And when I want some burgers, I basically take it out of the fridge, I form burgers, and I fry them, and I eat them. So, test this. Okay, day 2 lunch, and what I'm having over here is a little bit different. Okay, my mic crapped out in this scene, and what I was saying is that I was having something a little different for lunch on the second day of my diet. It was beef burgers, and I mixed some ground beef liver inside, and it's very nice because it adds earthy creaminess into the mix lah. I also talked about the kinds of salt that I used. I tend not to use table salt because refined table salt often contains additives like anti-caking agents. The most common ones are calcium silicate, magnesium carbonate, and sodium aluminosilicate, but they are typically harmless. However, there is some debate over sodium aluminosilicate, E554, which has small levels of aluminium. It's known that high levels of aluminium intake from all dietary sources over long periods has been associated with neurological effects. But the connection is not well established, and it is a topic of ongoing research right now. That said, the amount of aluminium which you would ingest is very small to begin with, almost minute. The main benefit of choosing other salts besides table salt, the main benefit is in itself quite minimal, is that you get a slightly higher amount of beneficial trace minerals in the salt, like magnesium, calcium, and potassium. I stress again, the benefit is minimal, because what matters more is actually how much of the salt you actually consume rather than the quality of salt itself. So for most people, normal table salt is actually perfectly fine, but if you can afford better, then why not lah? So what we do as a family is that we no longer use table salt, but for day-to-day use, we use sea salt, which is roughly about double the cost lah. 45 cents versus 22 cents a packet, something like that. But if you want to crack some salt on stuff, right, we tend to use pink Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt, that sort of thing lah. But it's mainly for a difference in flavor. There's a slight difference, you can tell. And I do this because, especially when I'm eating like this, it's the only seasoning I'm using, so why not? And of course, for that slightly higher mineral content lah. So, there you go. So as you can tell, for this time period, right, I won't be going out to eat lah. I'll just be eating at home, but if I do go out, this is how I eat. I eat yakiniku with the family, but with no sauce. And I add my own salt. Yeah. So then that's about medium rare, so put a bit of salt. And yeah, there we go. Okay, today's dinner is lamb. It's basically lamb leg, and it can be gotten quite cheaply from online stalls. Yeah, it's about, let's say, $16 a kg. This was on discount. So yeah, my dinner for something different. And the result is that it actually comes out quite medium rare. Rare, I would say rare. And it's very nice and juicy. Let's see how it tastes. Makes for a nice change from beef. Okay, this is some beef fat, and I have to cook some of it because there's not enough fat on the lamb itself, so I need to supplement some more fat now. This is my lunch for the day. Some beef fat plus some lamb. Lamb leg of lamb. There you go, my lunch today. There we go, with a bit of fried crispies, beef crispies. Yeah, so this is my week 1 report. Basically, I'm 1 week into this diet. Okay, my mic crapped out in that scene lah. So let me repeat what I was trying to say. So that was 1 week into the diet, and I was explaining what I was experiencing so far, which is that I went to the toilet more frequently and I pooped much more than usual, and a lot of it was watery diarrhea. And that is similar to what I experienced when I went on a standard Singapore diet to cutting out 90% carbs, sugars and vegetables. Apparently it has something to do with the body adapting to a new diet, especially one where it is higher in fat content. So because the body is not used to absorbing more fat than usual, the fat ends up in your colon, and so the body secretes water into the colon to get rid of it. Apparently after a while your body will adjust and learn to absorb the fat for energy. Similarly too, because you're not eating vegetables and carbs, the bacteria in your gut which feed on the carbs and vegetables die off. They release toxins, and similarly the colon will release water to expel it. So the diversity of bacteria in your gut will go down, but only temporarily. Apparently after a few weeks, it goes back to normal, to higher levels. And true enough, after about 5 days of diarrhea and adaptation, I didn't experience diarrhea and my frequency of pooping actually went down. Besides that, my energy was perhaps a little higher than normal, and maybe I was a little more mentally alert lah. All in all, I remember the first week I felt pretty good. On that day I was having lamb with some beef tallow and some salt. I thought that I would get bored easily eating the same thing every day, but so far it seems fine, surprisingly. One thing I noticed in week 1 was that my appetite went way down. So I actually planned my food for 2 meals a day, but frankly after 1 meal I was full and I could actually easily forego the other meal lah. But since I have family and meal times is one of the opportunities to bond, what I did was that I consciously ate a smaller lunch so that I could fit in a small dinner. So that was week 1, on to week 2. My dinner today, these are basically beef shabu shabu slices which I fried in the pan. At least it's a bit different lah, huh? Oh well, bon appetit! The kids are doing the lion diet with me today.
It's not lion diet, it's with butter.
It's with butter, that's a good point. So how do you feel?
Good.
Good, really? You don't mind this?
Yeah.
Really, man?
Yeah, lor.
JJ? Huh?
Okay.
Okay, really? Am I forcing you to eat this?
No. Yes.
Okay, but why don't you take one bite and see how you feel?
It's yummy, but...
No, you take one bite first. And JJ first. Okay? Okay or so only?
Okay.
Okay.
Yummy.
Really? Wow. Okay. Alright. Okay, here's my week 2 update, and surprise, I'm having, burgers with fat on the side. Big surprise. There's nothing major to report really. I had some minor neck and lower back aches earlier in the week, and I thought it could be diet related. But then I remembered that I went for a massage, a Chinese massage a few days ago, Twina. And sometimes instead of relieving the ache, or rather it relieves the ache temporarily, the massage can actually introduce some aches for a while. But whatever the case, the aches have gone now. Besides that, I mentioned that my frequent pooping has stopped. I did wonder if my energy levels were maybe flagging a bit, but that's because I've been pushing myself a little harder in the gym, but only a bit So I can't tell if it's because of that, or if it's because of the diet, or if it's because of a less than optimal amount of sleep that I've been getting. I get about 6 or 7 hours of sleep a day which isn't the optimal 8 hours, but for some reason I seem to need less sleep ever since I started prioritizing meat and less vegetables, carbs and sugars a year and a half ago. I sleep at about between 11 to about 12 or so around there. And then when it's about 6 to 6:30, my body just wakes up, and I can't fall back to sleep after that. So I might try to work on my sleep and see if I can get it down to a full 8 hours consistently. That's the report for week 2. A bit boring, I know. Yeah, so on to week 3. A bit of a change in meat this week. Beef ribeye steaks with some beef crispies and beef tallow. It's fried in the pan, and flipped every 15 seconds until it develops a nice crust. Then I rest it in the hot pan for a few minutes. The steak is a nice rare as a result. Okay, I'm sitting down for my lunch. Again, 3 burgers, oil and some fat crispies. What is the update for week 3? Again with my crappy mic. So this is what I said. There wasn't much to report for week 3. I thought I was getting tired of the diet, but every time I sat down for a meal, right, I would eat it with the same gusto as I would with any other meal lah. And there weren't any additional health benefits that I could detect. But that said, I didn't want to give the impression that I was in peak healthy condition lah. You know, I still have like a few minor issues here and there, like a bit of neck ache because I stare at the phone too much, a bit of lower back pain because I don't sit properly on my chair lah, you know. I also started replaying guitar after a long time, so I had a bit of tendonitis in my arm or something. But of course, these issues are not as bad as what I used to have like before. Yeah, so on to week 4. Okay, alright. This is me again. I realized that I didn't record anything in week 4, and I remember why. Because the experience was actually quite routine, it's quite boring. It was basically every meal, beef, salt, water, and my health was the same. It was neither up nor down, you know. The kids had gotten used to it, my wife had gotten used to it, that's it. The only thing I felt that I remember was that I was excited to end my 1-month experiment to actually eat something else besides meat, salt and water. But I refrained from recording anything until I was back on my old diet for a week or 2 to see if I could notice any changes And my old diet, for reference, was basically 90% less carbs, sugars and vegetables plus more meat and fat basically. So during the 1-month experience, how did I feel? Okay, this is a summary of what I experienced. I thought that I would quickly get bored of the food because it's just meat, salt and water. I ate twice a day, 2 meals, sometimes 1.5 meals, and my diet was a mix of hamburgers, beef steaks, lamb legs, some beef liver and some shabu shabu with salt and some water or soda water. But surprisingly, as I said, once I started eating, right, I actually enjoy eating the food as much as I would any other meal. Very often I felt that I could have easily been happy just eating once a day As for the health changes I experienced, I lost some weight, about 2 kg at the start, which was water weight. But then towards the end of the month, I gained back 1 kg, which I suspect could be muscle gain, I don't actually know. Because nothing actually changed besides the diet. My sleeping was the same, my exercise was the same, and so on Maybe my exercise just a little bit more, but very minor. Okay, taking my weight after 1 month of doing the lion diet. Okay, this is with clothes on. What is it?
84.
84.
Yeah, I mean it's not 84 on the dot, but nearly there. 83.8. Around there.
So there you go. I looked at my body at the start of the diet, and then 1 month later, and frankly there wasn't much of a change. Okay, just to show you my body composition of what I look like after 4 weeks on the lion diet. So yeah. So okay, I guess. A bit closer maybe. That said, I also experienced the reduction or the elimination of my sinus problem altogether. But only time will tell when I continue on my previous diet that whether my sinus problem and the fact that it went away was actually due to the lion diet or not So far it seems that a little bit of my sinus has come back, so maybe it has a little bit of an effect, but I don't know. Health-wise, I had no issues, but I didn't feel that I had any major health issues when I started the diet in the first place. I didn't experience any major health benefits, but neither did I experience any health deficiencies either. Maybe you need to be on this diet for more than a month, maybe 6 months minimum, to see any significant changes. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's pretty easy to eat just meat, and I would be perfectly happy just eating this way, to be honest. That said, to even think about going on this way of eating for long term, then I need to consider other aspects of my life like socializing, family, and going out to eat, that sort of thing. Firstly, eating this way is highly inconvenient. It's almost impossible to eat out. Everything has spices or the wrong oil, or it's mixed with sugar or mixed with carbs, so and so on. The only exception were yakiniku eateries lah, because you can request for the meat to be without the sauce and you can just add salt. That's the only kind of restaurant which I think that you can go to. It's also hard for friends and family to cater to such a restrictive diet. I mean, who wants to invite me out lah, when I've got such a weird diet, right? But on the upside of actually doing this experiment, because I didn't experience any major health benefits, it means that the way I was eating that I settled on before I went on this diet seems to be a good, healthy way-ish to sort of move forward lah, as far as I know for now. Which is, as I said, prioritizing meat and fat and eating 90% less processed foods, carbs, sugars, and vegetables, and seed oils. And maybe the occasional carb meal once in a while. But that said, I say this, but I've yet to do a blood test and a health scan lah. So my opinion might change, and I will be going on a blood test and health scan very, very soon. Other side notes, one thing I noticed is that when I started back onto my previous diet, I could taste the spices and herbs better in a way. Like I could really taste the pepper in the soup, and I could really taste the sugar and so on. Also, a funny thing, I kept on having dreams of me actually breaking my 1 month diet experiment and eating carbs and sugars and feeling guilty about it. Even though when I was awake, I didn't really crave for carbs and sugars at all. So that was very, very strange to actually witness. But on a more philosophical note, I did this lion diet experiment for only a month. And the big question is, what would my health be like if I did it for the long term? Like for 5 years, for 10 years, that sort of thing. Well, I don't know, but I probably would never know because I don't really feel that I want to devote 10 years of my life finding out lah, So my initial thoughts about this diet is that if you have serious health issues, autoimmune issues, severe obesity, diabetes, and so on, then yes, okay, go on this diet. But for somebody who doesn't have serious health issues, right? I would say the normal carnivore way of eating, or keto or animal-based with some carbs, seems to be good enough lah. However, there are other people who are currently on this experiment of eating only meat, salt, and water, like Dr. Jordan Peterson and his daughter. They have been eating this way for almost 3 years lah. So I'll be following their progress with great interest lah. So yeah. So sorry, nothing revolutionary, nothing really happened. The major health benefits which I had all happened in my last health journey lah. This additional one didn't really make too much of a difference. As I said, with caveats. So yes, thanks for watching Great Speed Eats and on this diet experiment. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one for another episode. Okay, bye-bye.